So before learning the secondary growth of dicot stem, we have to know about the anatomy of dicot stem, right? So I have given the cross section here and a detailed diagram of that I have given here. So first we'll mark the parts of the stem piece, right? So after cuticle there is an inner layer, right? So this is a not inner layer, so this is the main layer. We call that layer as the epidermis. So we call this epidermis is the outermost layer, and it protects from the desiccation and the infections, right? So in the epidermis you will have the spores called stomata, right? So when you come inside, see, you can see I have marked red, right? Now this part of the stem, okay, this is the primary structure. Next only we will learn the secondary. So in the primary structure, this part we called as the cortex. So this cortex is present inner to the epidermis, and here we have the cells. Most of the cells are parenchymal cells. Parenchyma. So here the cells are parenchymal cells. Okay, and in some beneath the epidermis, in some you have even collenchyma. So basically we call some beneath the epidermis layer, another layer we call as hypodermis. So hypodermis, and next layer we call parenchymatous cortex. So here some are parenchymatous and some are collenchymatous layer. And next to the cortex we have the endodermis. So this is the endodermis layer. So when we talk about the stem, in the stem there will be no any Casparian strips. You know, in roots you have the Casparian strip like across this, where it is made up of suberin. But here we don't have those Casparian strips, right? Because they have to do the conductions like water conductions and the food conductions, right? Now when we go to the next layer, right? So when you talk with this full layer, we call that full layer as the pericycle. Normally this part fully we called as the pericycle. So see, after pericycles only we have the vascular bundle, right? These are the vascular bundles, right? So in the pericycles, just above the vascular bundle we have some cells, tissue, we call that as sclerenchyma, right? So already you would have learned about the tissues. So there, this is the sclerenchyma that is present above the vascular bundle, right? So this part here I have mentioned here, and this, that is sclerenchyma. Sclerenchyma, right? So in these pericycles you have sclerenchyma, and the other cells are parenchymatous cells. Then when these parenchymatous cells go in between the vascular bundle, they elongate like this, okay? Then it forms the inner part. This is called the pith, okay? Here you can see this is the pith, inner part. This is the inner part, that is called the pith, right? So here when we talk about the vascular bundle, right? So the two vascular bundle, you have what? The mainly the xylem and the phloem, right? So here in the vascular bundle, which is present near to the sclerenchyma, that is the phloem, right? So this part here, phloem, right? And the which is closer to the pith, that is xylem. Right? So this is phloem, outer part is the phloem and inner is the xylem. So see, this phloem and xylem is divided by a strip. You call that as a cambium. This is what you call vascular cambium. So these are the main parts of Dicot stem. This is the primary structure of Dicot stem. Now from this only we are going to learn the secondary structure, where there are two places where this secondary growth is going to happen. Right? So again I say the things. So epidermis, that is the outermost layer. So outer to the epidermis you have a thinner layer called cuticle. Then in the epidermis we have spores called stomata, and it protects from infections and the desiccations. Then next we have the cortex. So in the cortex is present inner to epidermis, and most of them contain parenchyma, as well as some they contain collenchyma. So that is present to support or to provide strength. Okay. Then you have the endodermis layer. You don't have much about this in your syllabus. Then we have the pericycle part, where you can see the sclerenchyma as well as parenchyma. So sclerenchyma present above the bundle sheath, and parenchyma they move inwards and they elongate and they finally form the pith. Even this part we can call as medullary rays. Okay, this part, this side here in this we can this part we can call as a medullary rays. So that is important because that is what we are going to learn in the secondary growth. What is going to happen in between these medullary rays? Okay. So then it forms the pith. So here you can observe the pith. So when you see the vascular bundle, that is arranged as a ring. See, it is arranged as a ring, and it contain, we call this as the primary phloem because it is in primary structure. So we call primary phloem and primary xylem. So this primary phloem is present towards the cortex, and this primary xylem present towards the pith. Right? So outside the vascular bundle you have the cluster of sclerenchyma cells. Then inner to the vascular bundle you have the pith, which is made up of parenchyma cells. Okay, so here we have the medullary layers, which helps in the lateral conduction. Okay, all these things you have in your guide, okay, resource book.